Hello, welcome to Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. I'm your host, Nikki Eisenhower, life coach and psychotherapist. And on today's episode, I'm discussing paying it forward for the next generation. So it is long overdue that I announce the next Patreon Pay It Forward. And if you didn't know, we give not 1%, not 2%, not 5%, but 10 full percent of what the Patreon pulls in to some kind of organization. This has been a dream of mine for many, many years. Whenever I talk about paying it forward, I get a little choked up. I'm very connected to that younger woman that I was, that different times in my life, I had to sleep in my car a few times. I contemplated going to a shelter. I was very, very terrified and scared. And it's been important to me since the very beginning of the show that we find a way to pay it forward, to share hope, to share goodness in the world. And there are so many people out there that are doing such good things, such good work to help our fellow humans. So far in the journey of our Patreon Pay It Forward, we have given to lots of different causes. Sometimes it's somebody that's struggling. Sometimes it's an organization that helps trauma survivors. Sometimes it's just something that lifts people up. So far, we have given in our Patreon Pay It Forward to a young woman who here in Denver, a few years ago, she fought off an attacker who wound up being a sex offender right on the Spear Trail, one of the big giant trails that runs for miles and miles and miles through the city. We've also given to the Gathering Place, a refuge for rebuilding lives that helps the homeless. We've donated to the National Black Doulas Association. We sent a round of meals to the local hospital at St. Anthony's for all of the doctors and nurses and healthcare people that were working such long shifts. It was a way during COVID that when we felt powerless that we could do what we can do. You can hear I'm already getting choked up. That choking up, that tearfulness is my inner child who just marvels that I'm in a position coming from such scarcity to be able to give. And I'm in that position with massive gratitude because of all of you at Patreon. When I say we can't do it without you, we cannot do it without you. And we are so much more together than singular. Thank you for being with me on this journey. Because it's been so long, because really I've had trouble choosing what the next organization was. As soon as I would choose some kind of organization, some kind of struggle to help with, something else kind of horrible and terrible would happen in the world and I'd get thrown. And I finally settled on 2 organizations. We have set up a poll on Patreon so that you can come and vote. Now, this is the first time I've kind of given this over to the Patreon so that y'all can help me decide. Right now, we have $2,300 ready to give to one of these 2 organizations. And I need your help to help decide because they're both way too good. Both of these organizations lift young people up. They are giving them focus, direction, purpose. They are growing their self-worth. And that is so needed right now. In America, we are having a major, major problem with directionlessness in our youth. Depression is on the rise. Suicidal ideation and suicidal attempt is massively on the rise. In almost every other country in the world, those statistics are saying that they are having less and less and less adolescent and young adult angst and struggle and depression. And in America, we are skyrocketing, which means we are doing a lot wrong. Part of what I think we are doing wrongly, if you will, is this safetyism. This over safety. And these organizations work to grow our children past that. The first organization that I want to mention is called Raising Men and Women Lawn Care Service. Now, this started with men. This started with a man, Rodney Smith Jr., and as his organization took shape and grew, he extended it to young women as well. Raising Men and Women Lawn Care Service. Now, how is this an organization? How is this a nonprofit? Let me read to you what the challenge of Raising Men and Women Lawn Care Service is, what it offers our youth. And they have youth working with them all over the world, not just here in America. Raising Men and Women Lawn Care Service says, we challenge you to cut 50 lawns for free for the elderly, the disabled, single parents, veterans, and anyone in need of help in your town. The challenge is for boys and girls ages 7 to 17. If you accept this challenge, all you need to do is send us a photo of you holding a sign saying, I accept the 50-yard challenge. And in return, we'll send you your white Raising Men and Women shirt along with shades and ear protection to get you started. For every 10 lawns cut, you will get a new color shirt. Once you cut 10 lawns, you get an orange shirt. 20 lawns, a green. 30 lawns, a blue shirt. 40 lawns, a red shirt. 50 lawns earns a black shirt. Once you reach 50 lawns, we will come to you. We will come visit. We will cut a few lawns with you. And we will give you a different colored Raising Men Lawn Care Service shirt. We will also give you a brand new lawnmower, a weed eater, and a blower. Let's make a difference together by mowing 1 yard at a time. Oh, it's making me cry. Right now, there are 3,211 kids mowing all over the world as I say this. 15,000 lawns mowed and over 150,000 supporters worldwide. The mission started with the founder. I mentioned his name earlier, Rodney Smith Jr. He created Raising Men and has expanded it to Raising Women. And what this does is it lets youth feel purposeful. It lets them feel a part of their community. It lets them feel empowered that they can affect positively people right there in their world. It grows their self-worth. It grows their purpose. It grows their self-esteem. It grows their resilience. And it makes depression plummet. Because when you have experiences that show you your own big heart, that shows you that you are so powerful that you can impact another full-grown adult human being that needed your help, that needed some assistance, it grows character, it grows backbone, it grows strength, and it grows resiliency. And this is what our youth need here in America and all over the world. I had a friend many years ago. He had a learning disability. He really struggled in school. He wound up dropping out of school at 16. To this day, I'm not sure that he ever got a GED. And what he started was a lawn care service. By the 8th or 9th year of this lawn care business, he was pulling in $350,000 a year. I was so impressed by him. This guy that was hardworking and determined, but just didn't fit learning in the way that public school sort of has a narrow lens for. I was so proud of him, so impressed. Not everybody out there has to take this sort of college level course to find a good, strong way to be useful, purposeful, or even honor an entrepreneurial spirit. I am so excited about being able, even right now, even if they don't win, to highlight Raising Men and Women Lawn Care Service. All right. The next contender for our Patreon Pay It Forward is Let Grow. The Let Grow mission is that we are leading the movement for childhood independence. Let Grow believes today's kids are smarter and stronger than our culture gives them credit for. We reject the idea that they are in constant physical, emotional, or psychological danger from creeps, kidnapping, germs, grades, flashers, frustration, failure, body snatchers, bugs, bullies, men, disappointing play dates, and/or the perils of a non-organic grape. Somehow our culture has become obsessed with kids' fragility and lost sight of their innate resilience. Kids are anti-fragile, built not just to withstand some challenges, but to grow stronger once they do. That's why Let Grow is creating a new path for parents, schools, and America itself, a path to letting kids have some adventures, solve some problems, and make things happen. We are making it easy, normal, and legal to give kids the independence they need to grow into capable, confident, and happy adults. The winners in business, love, and life itself are comfortable with a bit of risk and disappointment. They listen, argue, work things out. They pivot. They are future-proof. At Let Grow, we recognize the enormous pressure to overprotect. The media and marketplace love to scare us all. And yet in our hearts, we know that always helping our kids is hurting them. Therefore, through our thought leadership, school programs, research writing, public speaking, and legislative advocacy, our mission is to give parents, educators, and communities the tools and confidence to step back so kids can step up. We are making it easy, normal, and legal to raise resilient, resourceful, and independent kids. Here are some of their projects that they have in action right now. There's the Let Grow project. This says, when we let go, we let grow. This is for elementary and middle school students, and they get this surprising homework assignment to go home and do something new on your own with your parents' permission. Walk the dog, make a meal, run an errand. When they do this, everyone is transformed. The parents see their child as competent, blossoming, and so do the kids themselves. Success breeds success. The project breaks the ice of anxiety in both generations. Our free project materials include a teacher guide, parent letter, and 100+ ideas to choose from. This is something that you can go on their site right now and find out more about, y'all. They also have a Let Grow Play Club for schools. It says schools stay open before or after classes for mixed age, device-free, loose parts, free play. Adults supervise, but they don't organize. You hear that, parents? Adults supervise, but they don't organize. Lots of you listening to the show are recovering codependents. We overfunction for other people. This is how parents accidentally rob their kids of confidence by doing too much for them, over-organizing. So adults supervise, but they don't organize the games or solve the spats. That way the kids learn the age-old social and emotional skills, creativity, maturity, teamwork, empathy they need right now and on up through adulthood. Our implementation guide for elementary school or middle school age students is free, so all you need is a gym, playground, or open space, and some kids of any age or ability. There's also something for middle and high school schools. This is one of their programs for older kids. It's the Think for Yourself essay contest. I love it. It has lively prompts like, who would you choose to censor what you read? And write a thank you letter to a jerk you learned something from. This annual high school essay contest gets students thinking about the importance of open-mindedness and free speech in their everyday lives. To date, we have awarded over $25,000 in college scholarships. Winning essays have run in USA Today, the San Francisco Chronicle, EdWeek, and beyond. These organizations are really doing the work, y'all. This is what kids need. Lots of people over the course of my life, kind of privately, have asked me, like, how am I okay? When they hear the scope of how hard my childhood was. And the truth that a lot of mental health types don't like hearing is that there was a lot of goodness in my family system. Part of what they did right and good, sometimes too much so, was they made me be a hard worker. Nothing was allowed except hard work. They expected a lot out of me. Again, often too much. But there really is a place where we can help kids step up for themselves and see really what they're made of. Sometimes kids that are just a twinge neglected, and I am not advocating for neglect at all, sometimes those kids do better because they are forced to figure some things out. If they have any innate spirit of wanting to do or leaning in or curiosity, they figure things out. And this life is about having to figure out so much that is hard, so much that is complex, so much that is challenging, that if we are protecting our kids from challenge, we're accidentally protecting them from building the very muscles that will help them weather the challenges of this life. That's what these organizations are about. That's what they're doing. So if you haven't yet, I ask you to come join our Patreon. It's a big circle of Patreon people supporting us, supporting you, supporting these organizations on our Patreon Pay It Forward. Come find us at patreon.com/emotionalbadass and put in your vote. We also have a vote going on right now about what our next Patreon live stream Q&A topic is. We are choosing between bodies, sex, and spirituality. The July live stream Q&A topic was relationships, and that was so awesome. It was one of my favorite ones. Thank you for all of you who participated live and who will listen later. Thank you for the questions that were deep and specific and helpful. When you show up to an event like that, you're not just showing up for yourself and the question that you need to ask. You're showing up asking a question that somebody else didn't quite know yet that they needed. That's part of what I love when you guys show up is I get to see live in real time. You guys thanking each other. Thank you for asking that question. Oh, I needed to hear that and I didn't know it today. We really do show up in this life for ourselves and when we're healing ourselves with integrity, with kindness, with self-compassion. We're modeling for all the other people in our world, whether they ever acknowledge that, say that to us, or even consciously understand that that's part of the experience of relating to each other. But I'm here to tell you that it is. So if you have benefited from the show, if you like the way that I talk and teach, please consider coming there, throwing us $2 or $5 or $10, or even being a kind of mega behind the scenes supporter and throwing us 20 if you happen to have the disposable income. I so appreciate the community that grows there. I appreciate how y'all don't stay in Patreon a lot. And then when you need some support, you pop back in. That's kind of the beauty of just throwing us a couple bucks a month and being able to come in. I don't run it like a Facebook. I'm not constantly like throwing up information in there just to put stuff up. Every little thing in there is its own little nugget. I'm highly aware at how busy we are, that the main highly sensitive person complaints are overwhelm and fatigue. So anything that I have in there is meant to be just a little nugget of something that I think is important on this healing journey that just helps us put another piece of the healing puzzle together so that we can have more peace, more ease, more empowerment. I am a child-free woman, but children have always been a real passion of mine since I was a very young child. Some of my favorite work that I do every single week of my life is working with people who are healing their own childhood traumas and very intentionally trying to not traumatize or overindulge their own children. I love the work when I get to help somebody find some little bitty nugget because it's in the nuance of this work that's so powerful. Some little piece about, hey, can I help you say that a little differently to your kid and we can see what happens? And then seeing them come back going, wow, I saw my kid's energy completely change. They went from shut down and kind of eye-rolly to receptive and open. I saw them step into more confidence and more maturity. When you do this work to heal yourself, those of you who are choosing to be parents in this life, I promise you, there's a filter down effect to your children. We can't just give it away to our children if we don't have it internally. The best way to help break those cycles of dysfunction, those generational heartaches and heartbreaks and fumbles and inadequacies, is to get so adequate for yourself, so self-loving, so self-compassionate, so internalized in terms of learning of a new language, because healthiness is like a language that we have to work on internalizing, that when we do that work for ourselves, it flows down to your children very, very naturally. So much better than if you just try to white knuckle it and give it to your kids. This is part of why I chose these organizations for our next Pay It Forward. And I can't wait to see how you guys vote. And I can't wait to give the biggest gift we've ever been able to give. I know these last few years have been hard. There's so much pain in the world. But when you zoom out, there's so much beauty. There's so much goodness happening in all of you that listen to the show and in so many people finding these creative ways to support our fellow humans, the little ones and the big ones. Thank you for listening to this show. Thank you for helping me live my purpose and my dreams. That's what this is. Just thank you for being on the planet with me. I'm an emotional badass. You are an emotional badass. And together we are where Moxie meets mindful. Light and love. And I will see you right here next time. And potentially on the Patreon. Bye-bye.